Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world away. We've now got the next 4 stages of the Fanhome release of Build the Knight 2000 from Knight Rider. We don't have these for a while and then they all come along at once. So this is basically going to encompass stages 7 to 10. I believe we're going to be doing the steering and we're going to be starting to do the suspension in here as well. We're going to need a lot of oil from what I understand, because obviously a lot of folks have done it before me because you've had yours first. But if you haven't got yours and you want to get yours for yourself, I'll put the link in the video description and you'll be able to get this all the way from pack 1, all the way from the Fanhome website. But can't wait to get cracking on this, so that's exactly what we're going to do. Let's do it. Let's get cracking. So let's show you what we're going to be doing in stage 7. It looks like we're doing a lot of the steering gear here. As you can see here, these are the instructions. And then we're going to be working on a little bit of the suspension that we started in stage 6. We're going to be adding this part again, which I'm worried about because this is where I stabbed myself last time. So it's all going to start in stage 7. As you can see by the size of this bag, quite a lot of stuff, but it's going to give you an idea of the size of the parts for the vehicle and how big the vehicle is. That's ginormous. Okay, so the first thing we're going to need is a steering cross joint, which looks just like that. We're also going to need one of these little cross members here. Put that in there. And we're also going to need some GM screws. Now I know how fiddly this is going to be. I'm going to put this in some oil ready. So I've loaded my screwdriver up. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to be putting this cross member in here. But we want to make sure that when we put it in, it's in such a way that the top and bottom is pointing up. So that's sort of going to be the direction that it's going to go in. And now the fiddly part is trying to get a GM screw into the side here. So let's see how well we get on with this. Right, I've got one side in. I'm not tightening that up at all. I'm just going to do it so I can line the other side up. And then hopefully we will be in a position to screw this together. Remember, when we put this in, we do want to make sure that we have got this section here on top. In it goes. I'm praying to the modelling gods that that will go in. Oh, and it has. Excellent. That wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. So that's one side in. And then I'll tighten up the other side. This is one of the steering gear rods here. That's going to go on the other side of that little cross section we just put in there. Once again, held in with GM screws. Once again, that's one side. And again, I haven't put that in tightly. Just nice and loose, just so I can line this up. And by lining it up, it makes sure that I don't cross thread the screws or that they're going in a wonky direction. On the other side of this rod here, we're going to put another cross section. That's going to go into there, and once again, GM screws just through the top and bottom. And there we go. That's what that full section should look like there. Now this is the steering gearbox here. This is metal. We're going to be taking that side of the steering mechanism that we've got here, and we're going to be putting this just into that section like that. Right next to it, we've got the other gear, which looks like that. That's just going to go down the hole to the side of that. It's going to engage with that mechanism there. Once we've done that, we've got the top to put on. That's going to hold everything into place. So I'm just going to line this up. And then that's going to be secured in with 3 screws just from the bottom there, and they are EM screws. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to take this whole steering gear here and the cross member. You see we've got 2 holes in there. This is going to go, these 2 lugs, just into those holes like that. So they come out the other side there, and we're going to hold them into place with 2 screws. These are flange screws. Every single screw I'm putting in here I have dropped in oil, just so you know. So that's 1 and that's 2. So there you go. So as you can see, when I turn this, the little square on the gear there rotates. Don't know if you can see that. I hope you can. But there you go. That's absolutely perfect. Now we need the cross member that I was preparing in stage 6. Looks like that. And as you can see, we've already put one of these supports on, suspension supports. We've got the other one here to put on as well. So in a similar fashion to what we did on that side, this is just going to go on this side just like this here. And once again, we're going to be putting IM screws for each side. The IM screws being a big old screw, comes in from the outside there. This is the one, if you remember, that I had my little accident with. I've just remembered. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pre-do the holes, making sure my hand is nowhere near the I'm going to use a different screwdriver for this, actually, a more heavy duty one, just to cut that in. And I'm keeping my fingers out the way, as you can see. That's perfect. It's only this first screw hole that I need to do that to. I'm actually a little bit terrified, if I don't mind saying. Right, okay, let's try that again. See if we can get this all the way in. That's looking good. And secure that all the way down. Oh my God, what am I like? And there we go. That's one side in, and we just do exactly the same on the other side. Oh dear. Okay. And there you go. That's all the way through. And with this section and this section here, that's all there is to do in that stage. Okay, so this is the magazine for stage 8, and as you can see here, we're going to be starting to assemble the left suspension and fix the wheel onto the axle. So we've got all the suspension parts here. We need to bring over the wheel that I worked on previously. And if you remember, I put one of Mike Lane's mods in there, so that looks like that. So we're going to need that. Attaching that to what we've done there, and we're just going to be building up onto this suspension here. So here's all the parts for stage 8. Let's get all of these out. Bring this section we've just been working on, and we're actually going to be putting some suspension mounts on. They look just like this. We've got 2 of these, and they're just going to go into the back section here. So this one is going to go on this side here, like that. It's labelled L, and the one that's labelled R is going to go onto the right side, just over here, like that. It's going to be held in from the top with KM screws. So that's one in that side there. I put the second one in. They're going in quite easy here, actually. And then we just do exactly the same on the other side. So when they're both in, they look just like that. We're then going to be working on the left side. Obviously, you've got the big L on this mount, so we know we've got a massive spring, which is going to go in there just like that. And then on top of it, we're going to be putting the other suspension arm. This is the lower suspension arm. This is going to go in like this. It's going to be other way around. It's going to go in like this. So the spring is engaging into the middle of this section here. Now that's going to be secured in from either side with JM screws. So here goes the first screw. I'm holding my breath. It's going in easier than the top ones did, that's for sure. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. And just make sure that goes all the way in. Going to do exactly the same on the other side here. Oh my God, I can't believe we've done that with no pain. Okay, and that's going in all the way as well. Perfect. Now we've got this other metal part here now, which is the front suspension lower joint. That looks just like this. That's just going to go into the hole that we can just see there from the lower suspension arm we just mounted, like that. Now, if you see that this has got a blade with a hole on the end there, hopefully you can see that. We're going to slot that into the wheel. Now you see you've got 2 slots this can go into, a long one and a short one. It's the short one that we're going to be putting this in. So that's basically just going to, hopefully you can see that, thread in like that there. It's going to be held in with a KM screw. Access is a little bit fun on this one. It's probably best on the top camera. It's hard for me to film this as well, but that screw's going in, no problems at all. And there we go, that's the top one in. So the wheel is now attached to that suspension arm. Just going to put that spring back in because the spring fell out there. There we go, so you get the idea of how that looks. We can just put that to one side just for a second because we're just going to work on this shock absorber joint, and that's just going to attach to this mount here, just like that there. Once again with a KM screw. There we go, that's all the way through like that. We're going to take what we've just been working on here and turn it upside down. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put this suspension through the hole that we can just see at the top there. So it engages into the teeth or the fork there that we've got down the bottom. Once again, just like we did for the other arm, we're going to be putting this in with a KM screw. So I'm just going to engage this together. You will have to push down on it because obviously the spring's compressing it a little bit. And then screw that all together. Excellent, and that's in place. As you can see, we now have a shock absorber there, and obviously the wheel can still move. Perfect. Okay, we've got a couple of arms to put on now. These are just going to go into the holes that we can see along the side there, this way up. So that's going to go in like that there, and you're just pushing these in. They don't need to be glued in or anything like that. I have just noticed that it has got left and right just on the top there. So it tells you which ones are going where. All you got to do is just make sure the orientation's correct. You want it all the way in. If you are having problems putting that in, just like that, then use a little bit of oil in those holes. Now these sections will keep falling out, so I am just going to leave them off for a second, because what I want to do is attach this side of the mount that we've been working on previously to the actual suspension arm here. So you see we've got two holes in this section. We've only got one hole on this section here. So what we want to do is line this up, and it's the inner hole that we're going to be putting a screw in. It's going to be screwed in with a KM screw on this side. So I'll get that ready. I am wondering if that other hole was meant for a like a locating lug or something. But yeah, it's not going in there. Okay, there we go. That's going in. Once again, I'm going to switch that for my heavy duty screwdriver. Perfect. I'm going to put that cross member back in place because it had wanted to fall out there. It's better to put that in now, you see, so it doesn't fall out. And then in that one, we're going to put a GM screw. Just started that off with one screwdriver and use the heavy duty one because I don't want to empower myself again. Now if you look on the bottom here, you can see two holes where screws are going to go, but to get to those screws you have to go through the hole at the top there. We're going to be putting two GM screws in there, so this is going to be fun. So use a long blade screwdriver, and you're going to have to kind of look into there to catch the screws into those holes. You need two of these. As you can probably imagine, that's going to be completely impossible to film. It helps to have these glasses with a light on so you can see what you're doing. If I didn't know better, I think they're having a laugh with that last instruction, but as you can see, they're both in there, or you might not be able to see, and that's all there is to do in that stage. So in stage 9, as you can see here, we're going to be working some more on the front suspension there. We're going to fix the knuckle and prepare the brake disc for the right front wheel as well. So we're going to be doing all of that as well. These are the instructions here for that, looking just like that. So in a similar fashion to what we've done on that side there, we're going to take a spring, put that in the top there, and then we've got the next suspension arm looking like that, which is going to go into this section just like that there. Pretty much what we did in the last stage. And we're going to put some IM screws in each side. So once again, one in this side and get that all the way in. Just the one in this side. And there you go. That's all the way in as well. Just going to put that down, looking like that. Now once again we've got this little metal part here that's going to go through the hole at the top there, and this is what we'd normally start mounting the wheel to. Because we haven't built the wheel yet, we're going to be mounting it to one of the brake components. If you remember, it's going to go onto the shorter side here, like that. So when that's in, it should look like that. And just like last time, we're going to be taking the housing for the shock absorber there and inserting it into the hinge there, like that. That's going to be screwed in with a KM screw again. And then we're just going to secure this to the bottom, just like we've done for the top one there, once again with a KM screw. So when that's in, that should look like that. And then we want to bring over the cross member that we got from pack 5. That looks like that. It's going to mirror what we've done there. So quite simply, just like we did in the last pack, we're going to line this up to that section there on the cross member, and once again put a KM screw just through this side. You know what, if you've watched the World of Wayne channel long enough, you'll know that if I ain't got a clue what this is, I mean, this is part of the chassis, I suppose. I'm just going to call it anything. And I'm very much aware that I've used the word cross member for everything. Hey, that's me. It's what I do. It's my thing. But anyway, look, that's in there like that. And that's a KM screw. And then just like we did last time, I'm going to reattach this section here just into the 2 holes. 1, 2. And then that's going to be held in with a GM screw. Perfect. Nice and sturdy now, that is. We've pretty much done all we can on that. So I'm going to put that to one side. And we're just going to be working on the discs again. So once again, I'm going to be putting the caliper in first. And to do that, we're just going to take the caliper and the brake component here. We're just going to put them in like that, so it fits over. That's going to be held in with some BP screws. So one there. And one on the other side there. So it looks like that. And then quite simply all we're going to do is we're just going to make the disc like we did last time by pushing these 2 sections together. So that looks like that. I will put Mike Lane's mod on there, just like I did with the last one, so that's all ready to go. But that's all there is to do in that stage. So in stage 10, as you can see here, looks like we're going to be doing a lot of parts of the steering mechanism here. Got some tweezers in this pack as well. So it looks just like that. So let's get this open. And we have got tweezers. Interesting. I won't need them, but if you haven't got any, it's handy to have. So the first thing we need is the steering linkage looking just like this. And then we have got some components to put in there. And that's this one and this one here. They are labelled left and right, so we know which ones we're putting on. So the way I'm looking at it here, if I've got it this way round, the left one's going on this side, the right one's going on this side. They're held in from the top with GM screws. Now when you put these in, you want to make sure that even though you've identified the L letter is going on the left, the letter is facing down. So I'll put one in and show you how this is orientated. So as you can see, it's orientated just like that. Hope that helps. Okay, let's do the other side. And there you go, they're both in like that. In a similar way, we've got these rods here with this larger section here where the open end we want to be facing down to this section here. That's going to go on that side like that there. Hopefully that makes sense. We're going to put that in with an LM screw from this side here. So that should look like that now. Getting there. Do the other side. And there we go, they're both in. Remember, it's all about the orientation here. So if these are going down here, then we want the holes for this section to be pointing down. So that looks like that. We can bring over what we've been working on previously here. Look at this. I'm always going to keep my mistakes in here. I just realised in pack 5 or whatever, I put this part here in the wrong way. It's supposed to go on the inside. It's not a biggie. See how easy it is to take out, but you know, I do make mistakes. So I don't I don't proclaim to be perfect. There we go. So let's put these back in. There we go. Simple fix. Excellent. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put this steering mechanism in. So these here are going to go onto the points that I've just moved around there. So they're going to go on like that there. Just to give you an idea of how that looks. It's very important on this side that we get that to engage. So it has got a square hole. So just keep turning it until that's engaged fully in there. Just like that. Because obviously that's what's going to operate the steering. And then I'll screw that down. Right, now when we secure these front sections down, they're slightly different screws. This one's a GM. On the other side here though, it's a DM, which is a flange screw. So I'm putting that in here now. Excellent. So then theoretically, if I just put this bit into the wheel where it goes, when I actually turn this steering here, it should now operate that steering arm. As you can see there, the wheel turns. If I turn it the other way, it turns the other way. So that's what I want to make sure is happening. So that's perfect. There, there. Excellent. Now to keep these attached to the tyres, as I said, we've got this section here. We're just going to be putting some DM screws into the tops here. So one this side. Excellent. And we can actually do the same on the other side, even though we haven't got a wheel here yet. So that's just going to go on the bottom there, up the top, and then we can secure that in from this side as well. So I'm just going to center the steering here. There we go. That's perfect. I want to keep that straight. Okay, this is the anti-roll bar. And all we're going to do is we're going to put in these little drop links in here. Now they have got a little notch at the bottom. We want to make sure that when we put them in, that notch is furthest away from the anti-roll bar, just like that there. It's going to be held in with a BP screw. So one in here. Excellent. And just do the same at the other side. Then we bring over this massive section we've been working on. So the way we're going to mount this, you can see these indents just here. It's going to sit on top there, but it's going to go into the holes that we can see at the top here. If I point to it on the close-up camera, there's one here as well into the control arms. So let's put this in just like this. 1 and 2, and then it's held in with BP screws. So that's 1. Just do the other side. And that's 2. So they're both in there. And then all we're going to do is we're going to be pinning the anti-roll bar just, or the sway bar, it's got different names, into this section just with some brackets. They're going to go over the top like that there. And they're held in with GM screws. So that's 1, it's 2 on each one, so I'll do all 4. So that's the sway bar in place. Pretty happy with that. We can put that to one side. One last thing to do, and that is we're going to be putting the brake lines in. Now we've got 2 leads here, which as you can see here on the close-up camera are the same length. One really long lead here. So if I've got this little mounting point square here, the long lead is going to come out of this side here, just pushing them over the nipple all the way in, and then the other 2 leads will come off the other 2 points here. Then bringing over this whole section here, if I turn it upside down just like this, is actually going to go in this way, just onto that middle hole just there like that. And that is going to be held in with a GM screw. So there you go. That's what that should look like when it's in. and I'll show you on the side camera. That's all there is to do in that pack. That was involved, wasn't it? God, loads to do in that one. So obviously now we are starting to build the chassis. Lots of detail in here. I can't believe the amount of detail actually, but we have got working quite well, and obviously we've started to make the other brake disc as well. I've already put Mike Lane's mods in there, so I've got those all done. But thoroughly enjoyable. And guess what? I've just had, while I was filming this, the next 4 stages delivered as well. So they're probably going to be coming next week now. But I really do hope you liked that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.